Moin! I was fishing around my nostalgia bag lately and caught a couple of good old games. One of them released in 2005, right before the last Star Wars movie ever to be directed by George Lucas himself hit cinemas worldwide. That year brought several of the best video games in our most favorite sci-fi universe ever. And the worst. He's still alive! He just crashed and he's still alive! Guys! Here! Kill him! Nice bug. Quite little, really. Overall, it was just an incredible year for gaming. I mean, GTA San Andreas set the bar for open world, sandbox and storytelling.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Multiplayer FPS were striving with Battlefield 2 and Quake 4. And of course, let's not forget about the insane time sink ever known to humanity, which is still popular to this day.
Me busy, leave me alone.
The list of timeless classics from that era is endless, and so LucasArts decided to ride on the tides of hype for the new Star Wars movie and thought, what if SWAT, but in our galaxy far far away? Directed by a fella named Tim Longo, who had Star Wars Dark Forces under his helm before and went on to become creative director for Halo 5 Guardians much later in 2015. All signs were pointing to success for this game. But in spite of presumably healthy sales and good receptions from the press, we never saw any follow-up to this or other successful games like Battlefront 2 or Knights of the Old Republic 2. So I always wondered, where are all the sequels to my beloved Star Wars games? Before I try to answer that question, let's have a quick look at gameplay, however. The first thing you'll likely notice when booting it up is the slightly unusual UI. It almost feels like you're actually wearing the helmet of a Republic Commando, which is pretty cool. Your shield and health are all integrated directly into the visor. And also the ammo for your currently equipped weapon is shown directly at that weapon model. Of course, the meat and butter of the game is the shooting. It works all well enough, though it definitely feels a bit dated and doesn't have much real punch to it. The real twist lies in your squad mates, however, who can be commanded in simple but effective ways. You can order them to regroup at your position, defend an area, or sweep and eliminate targets.
Squad leader, take offensive formation. Yes, sir. Let's form up. Forming up, boss.
Also, at fixed points you can even assign more specialized actions, like taking up a sniper position, setting a charge or breaching a door together.
Breach! The dock is breached!
If you or one of your teammates go down, the survivors can perform a revive on the spot, keeping the squad rolling. Altogether, it fits nicely into the Star Wars atmosphere and creates a surprisingly immersive loop. There are a few quirks and hiccups, such as the occasional inconsistency when switching your modular assault blaster, or little bugs here and there, but nothing that completely breaks the experience. If you're watching the gameplay in the background or played it yourself maybe, you probably noticed that they really wanted to focus on the military aspect of Star Wars instead of the grand spectacle in itself. And now we're getting a little bit more tactical, just as I was. Despite being a game in a fictional sci-fi world inhabited by strange creatures and magic sorcerers with laser staffs, they wanted to show the realism behind clone commando operations and portray a sense of seriousness.
Right behind you, squad leader.
Stay alert. I'm reading a sudden surge of activity in your area. Vent shafts leading to the factory are low.
It's like you're on highly threatening, sometimes desperate missions, and behind every door someone is potentially waiting to kill you. For that not to happen, you need your teammates. And the animations directors tried really hard to give the mocap actors all the tools to portray a real-life Spec Ops team. They even brought in special ops instructors to get tactics and the animations right.
A weapon safely, how to draw it, a 5-point draw, how to move with a handgun or a long gun. I try and make it as close as reality as I possibly can.
And honestly, it worked very well. You never get the feeling of being an unbeatable superhero. You cautiously need to apply tactics, use your environments and the whole team with their strength to succeed a mission. Of course, it depends a bit on the difficulty as well, but what I'm saying is this is not the typical one man saves the universe show. You and your squad mates are given a task and you'll have to find ways to execute that specific objective. In other parts, there's some serious talent involved in the development in other areas too, such as the audio with Hollywood sound experts, for instance.
Artist Jana Vance has created sound effects for feature films like Star Wars, Minority Report, Saving Private Ryan, and Pitch Black.
I really have no clue how most of the game audio is designed today, but back in the days, they've literally used a whole fresh fruit supermarket aisle just to make elegant footsteps sound believable. Kind of amazing, right? But when the game itself is as special and well received as it seems, where's that sequel? Was that too ambitious?
Warriors en route.
62's down. 62 is down.
According to an old Game Informer article, before they had these great successes like Knights of the Old Republic, Battlefront 2 or our Republic Commando here, there were deep job cuts to make LucasArts a powerhouse publisher. After that, and with rising sales, everything seemed well, but apparently behind the scenes reality was pretty different. A guy named Jim Ward, which was responsible for LucasArts and all its endeavors, had a questionable leadership style according to former employees. However, these personal disputes and a harsh work environment weren't the only problems, and apparently not the reason several sequels were canned. Later down the line, the whole gaming division was split into different teams, and they would occasionally partner with outside studios like Day One Studios, which today is part of Wargaming. But later, LucasArts pushed for more internally developed Star Wars games. But in that process, a lot of projects weren't greenlit by George Lucas himself, or didn't even reach him for whatever reason. And well, one of these games was the sequel to Republic Commando, titled Imperial Commando. It's not quite clear, but it seems that the company was in such turmoil and trying to reboot itself that a lot of the original team members also had already left. And two different types of game pitches never came through. Well, and we know all what happened afterwards. George Lucas sold his universe to Disney. Well, and this game's story and the idea of Republic Commando was even declared non-canon by Disney. Everything we got was a Switch remake of the original game a little later. This and several other franchises were left in the dust. So even though the game itself is showing its age, I found it to be an entertaining and immersive experience.
Breach that door, Delta.
Initiating breach maneuver. Charge set.
Cancel sniper maneuver.
Whether it was bad luck, team members leaving the company, or the mastermind George Lucas himself, who was responsible for the cancellation of several Star Wars games in that period, it's just really sad to see this franchise lay dormant. What remains for us is a cult classic which, thanks to websites like GOG, can at least be played without any issues to this day. And who knows, maybe in a universe far, far away, there may exist the remake of Knights of the Old Republic and other classic Star Wars games at least.